What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what really moved it today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, SoFi did pull down 1.46%, extending it slightly after hours as well, 0.4%. That is attributed to big tech's earnings. So Google, Tesla, and also 𝗪𝗧𝗡 unveiled their earnings. Not necessarily the best. So there was some positives, but I think based on many of those earnings, majority was negative, so not necessarily the best. So once again, should make for a very interesting day tomorrow, but that is tomorrow's problem. Today, there was 23.2 million shares being traded, 36.5 is the average. You had this same crap happen first thing. So you had a lot of volatility similar to yesterday. So you did have just the market naturally wanting to propel, for instance, a lot of growth stocks higher because there was a lot of optimism first thing. A lot of stocks were generally higher, but you had some, for whatever reason, some institutions were wanting to sell SoFi. And this similar scenario did in fact happen yesterday. So kind of deja vu once again, but you had some institutions selling first thing that kind of countered the actual market momentum. And then as well, you had some institutions selling near the tail end of the day. So not necessarily the best. There was news that did come out though today, this morning. So Galileo Financial Technologies adds 3D Secure to bolster online fraud protection. And looking under their website, obviously 3D Secure is really good, would help with online transactions. And once again, adds another element to mitigate risk. So this is over and above many of the other additives or whatever you guys get what I'm saying throughout 2023 that was announced. So I think that is generally good. Plus, based on this, it shows that online debit and credit card fraud is projected to escalate to 28.1 billion globally by 2026. That is up 40% from 2023. So yeah, I'm pretty sure some people would, if you could invest in fraud, essentially, I'm pretty sure some people would invest in that, up 40% over a 3-year span. That's definitely a little bit better than SoFi right now. But once again, actually, I think it is over the last 1 year, yes, down 21%. So once again, aside from that though, going over some data points, starting off with shorts. Shorts did return 73,000 shares, but looking at the intraday, this is where you did have them somewhat active. So they were very, very active, manipulating SoFi up and down. If you kind of look at the intraday for the most part, that matches with them, just on the low end. So this is why net amount, it was 73,000 that they returned, but that once again doesn't kind of count for all the transactions that they did. But 17.09% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 177.4 million shares overall being shorted. Utilization is 60%, short score 72.59. You do have cost to borrow average 0.82, and once again that cost to borrow minimum is gone for roughly 2 days now, 3 days. So it's been on there, or it was on there for at least a good about 4 or 5 consecutive days. So it's good to see that gone, but still, as a grand total, $1.34 billion in shorts are out there. So pretty significant stuff. Looking at options, 3.24 million in calls, 829,000 in puts. Sentiment wise though, 47% of all the options being done are bearish. And based on the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $8 by the end of next week. And then looking at the puts, you do see a consensus for it to be sub 650. So more of a extreme breakdown. So based on this, as you can kind of see, so August 2nd encumbers their earnings, you do see a lot of negativity starting to pop up. So once again, maybe people are projecting that typical SoFi, so run up into their earnings, and then regardless of the results, it sells off. Clearly, there's a good chunk of people betting on that to happen. But looking at the open interest, so this is where you have 9,000 at that $7 strike price, 31,000 at the $7.50, 53,000 at $8, and then 38 at the $8.50. So once again, market makers slash shorts have a financial interest in keeping SoFi below 750. So this is why you've seen a lot of stocks, especially this morning, really breaking higher and kind of for the most part holding a lot of their gains. with exception of SoFi. SoFi just goes down time and time again. So it's one of those scenarios, like I've said in the past, it is a broken stock, not a broken company. So there is a big difference. It's sometimes very frustrating to see, but it is what it is. Like I've been saying for the greater part of the last week, watch for 750. That is a strong pivot. So it did momentarily, like I said, break above that today, 766 as a high. But regardless, going into the next several trading days, just watch for 750. GDP is coming out on Thursday, PCE on Friday, so that's going to cause a lot of volatility. And no doubtably, a lot of tech companies or their earnings is going to cause some negativity tomorrow once again. So we'll just have to kind of just brace for that. So just watch for that 721 as it stands to hold. And looking on the actual chart, it is still overall okay. So it is above a lot of the key pivotal moving averages. So I get there's been a lot of consolidation and you see SoFi lagging just the broader market, but to be somewhat optimistic, their technicals are looking okay. It still is above the 50 and 100-day moving averages. Stochastic, you do see it at 73-ish, so it's kind of still arguably overbought a little bit. You do also see at the same time a bearish deviation, so red line above the white. And then looking at the momentum indicator, number of retail investors have been getting out. So yeah, it's kind of funny how just overnight, just the FOMO just stopped with SoFi. So very interesting circumstance. So do you guys think that FOMO is going to kick back in by the tail end of the week, or do you think it's going to diminish? I think GDP, a lot of analysts were starting to kind of lower their expectations for GDP slightly. Nothing crazy, but I did see a post. I tried to find it. I think Gavin posted it. So I'll bring it up in my pre-market video for tomorrow. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting week. There's been no real change, no interesting articles coming out associated to SoFi, no new analyst ratings. So yeah, I think everyone is just holding their breath now for SoFi's upcoming earnings, which right now you do see over the last 90 days, 3 positive revisions and then 5 negative revisions. So as it stands, 0.1 is the earnings per share estimate and 566.69 million is the revenue estimate. So that one, like I kind of showed in my video yesterday, did go down slightly because it was at 578, and so clearly one of these negatives or negative analyst revisions did affect their revenue as well. So I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that though, appreciate all of you watching.